Formula One cars don't get faster in a straight line. They get faster when the rules force teams to reinvent what speed even means. And that's why the 2026 Power Unit isn't just a new engine. It's a power shift that rewrites how races are fought, because electric power stops being a helper and becomes the main weapon. Most fans think 2026 will be about more horsepower. But here's the twist. The real change is where your power comes from when you use it, and what happens when you get that timing wrong. Because in 2026, you won't just watch a driver drive fast. You'll watch them manage a weapon that can surge, snap, and disappear if they misjudge it by one corner. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to explain every major part of the 2026 Power Unit, what it does, what changed, and why this is the power move that rewrites racing. First, what does Formula One even mean by power unit? It's not just an engine block. It's a full system. You've got the internal combustion engine, a turbocharger, the electric motor that can drive the rear wheels, the battery that stores energy, and the control electronics that decide how the whole machine behaves together. And here's the invisible detail most people miss. The fastest car is often not the one with the biggest peak power. It's the one that can deliver power at the perfect moment without losing the rear tires or burning through energy too early. Now the big rewrite starts with one brutal truth. In 2026, the electric side becomes a main character. That means the driver will feel speed differently. The old hybrid cars feel like smooth power that builds. 2026 will feel sharper because when electric torque hits, it arrives instantly. In the cockpit, that isn't just more power. It's the difference between a clean exit and the rear stepping out, forcing the driver to correct it with their hands and their instincts. Now let's talk about the star of the show, the MGU-H. This is the electric motor connected to the drivetrain. It can push the rear wheels when it deploys energy, and it can harvest energy back into the battery when the driver brakes. Simple concept. But 2026 changes what it means in real racing. Because now, the MGU-H isn't a small assist. It becomes a sledgehammer. Imagine a driver launching out of a slow corner. In the current car, the power delivery is engineered to feel smooth and predictable. In 2026, the driver will feel a harder surge of electric torque, 1 inch too aggressive on throttle, and the rear tires can snap loose. The steering wheel won't just guide the car. It will fight back, and the driver will have to wrestle it into line. And this is where the battle becomes mental. Every lap becomes two choices. Do you deploy now to attack? Or do you save it to defend later? That's the new chess game, because using energy is no longer a simple boost. It's spending a limited resource at the perfect second. Now here's the high-stakes part most fans won't understand until they see it happen live, the drop-off. Derading. Derading is what happens when the car runs out of usable electrical energy, and the system has to pull power back to protect itself and stay within the rules. And in 2026, this won't feel like a small loss. It can feel like disaster. Picture this. A driver defends hard for 3 corners. They deploy energy to stop an overtake. They survive the attack. They think they're safe. Then halfway down the next straight, the battery hits the limit. And suddenly, the electric punch is gone. No dramatic sound. No obvious warning. Just a car that stops accelerating like it was a second ago. And that driver becomes a sitting duck. The rival behind, who saved energy, hits full deployment and screams past at full speed. In a moment, the fight flips. That's why 2026 will be more dramatic. Not because the cars are slower, but because the consequences are sharper. One mistake with energy, and your defense can collapse instantly. Now let's hit the biggest reset. The MGU-H is gone. If you've never heard of it, here's the clean version. In the current era, the MGU-H could recover energy from the turbo system and help control turbo speed. It helped keep the power delivery smooth and efficient. It was engineering perfection. 2026 removes it, and this is the trade-off. We traded engineering perfection for accessibility and spectacle. And here's the twist. By making the tech simpler, we made racing harder. Because without the MGU-H smoothing everything out, turbo behavior becomes more of a challenge again. That means out of slow corners, drivers may feel moments of lag, then a sudden surge when the system wakes up. It's less robot perfect, more unpredictable, more physical. The driver's job becomes harder because they're not just driving the car fast, they're taming it. Now let's talk about the internal combustion engine, because this is where 2026 becomes bigger than Formula One. These engines will run on 100% sustainable fuels. And that isn't boring efficiency talk. That's a lab experiment happening at extreme RPM, under massive heat, under full race stress. It's combustion chemistry pushed to the limit, so the engine still matters, but its role is different. It becomes the stable backbone, the piece that keeps the system alive, consistent, and reliable across an entire race distance. The electric side wins battles, but the combustion engine keeps the car from falling apart when the pressure rises. Now let's talk about the battery and energy store, because this is the heart of the 2026 concept. The battery stores harvested energy and releases it when the driver needs power. And as electric power becomes more important, the battery becomes a bigger performance limiter, not just for speed, but for reliability. Because batteries don't just store power, they create heat. And heat is the enemy. Heat forces the system to protect itself. And when the system protects itself, you lose performance. That means cooling and packaging will decide winners early in the new era. If your car overheats, you don't just lose a tenth. You lose the ability to attack and defend when it matters most. Now we bring in the part nobody sees, but everyone will feel in overtakes and defenses: the control electronics. Don't think of this as computer settings. Think of it as the digital strategist, the conductor of the orchestra. It decides how much energy to deploy, when to harvest, and how to blend engine power with electric power, so the car stays fast without becoming unstable, overheating, or draining at the worst moment. And here's the scary part. Two cars can have similar hardware, but the one with smarter control strategy will feel like it has a stronger engine, even if it doesn't. Because the power arrives at the perfect time, the car stays alive longer, and the driver doesn't get trapped into derating at the end of a straight. Now let's connect all of this to what you will actually see on track. Overtaking will change. In the current era, overtakes often depend on being close enough and getting the run. In 2026, energy deployment becomes a bigger weapon. If you deploy at the right moment, you get a sudden surge that creates an overtake window. If you deploy too early, you waste it, and you become vulnerable later. Defending will change too. You can't just cover one line and hope. If the car behind has energy saved, they can create closing speed that makes your defense feel late. So drivers will have to think one corner ahead, not react one corner too late. And tires are about to become even more important. Electric surges change how the rear tires load up out of slow corners. That changes traction, temperature, and degradation. And tire degradation decides pit windows. So energy strategy doesn't just decide speed, it decides the shape of the entire race. Now here's why this matters right now. 2026 resets the competitive order, because it shifts what teams need to be best at. Some teams are better at combustion efficiency. Some are better at electric systems. Some are better at software. Some are better at packaging and cooling. In the first year of the new era, the teams that win may not be the ones you expect. And here's the prediction. The winners in 2026 won't just be the teams with the loudest engine or the highest peak speed. They'll be the teams who master energy like a weapon. They'll know when to deploy, when to harvest, when to bait a rival into derating, and when to save everything for one brutal straight. So let's end this clean. The 2026 Formula One power unit is a system built around balance. The engine provides the backbone. The turbo supports it. The MGU-H becomes the punch. The battery becomes the heart. And the control electronics become the brain that turns it into strategy. And that's the power move that rewrites racing. Because in 2026, Formula One doesn't just reward peak speed. It rewards the smartest energy plan. And once you understand that, you don't just watch races. You can predict the moment they flip.